My name is Christina.
I'm Alan.mp4.
We live in San Jose, California. We've been married for 11.5 years.
We want to talk about a particular rough spot in our marriage that occurred just about 2 years ago. I lost my job. I was unemployed for about 3 months, going through a lot of anxiety, self-evaluation, who I am, what I was going to be doing tomorrow. Didn't know what was really up or down. Lost really touch with my lovely wife Christina. Stopped really thinking about her, getting self-absorbed into me, wondering what was tomorrow going to bring about. I was going through getting depressed and denial about being depressed. Didn't really want to take a drug. I didn't need to take a drug, and that's for people who really are sick. I wasn't sick, but certainly was depressed without really being aware about being depressed.
One of the things that I noticed during that time for us was that Alan chose to do a number of his favorite activities to try to lift his mood, but unfortunately his favorite activity is to golf, and that involves quite a bit of time, and it wasn't something that we shared together as a hobby. So then to lift his spirits, we were spending even more time apart.
Part of what I was going through is sometimes I wanted to be by myself. It was kind of easy to withdraw. I did watch some television, which isn't very helpful or conducive to any type of a relationship. Just kind of wandered off in my own little world, you could say. Wasn't really interested in doing things with some of my other friends, let alone with my wife Christina.
And so it was during that time that I could see no progress going either on the job front or with our relationship, and I felt like I needed to get Alan's attention in some kind of way that I thought he would recognize. Nothing that was passive-aggressive, but something that was much more straightforward. And so I asked him if he would move out of our house. And when he said he would not move out of our house, I said, well, I'll move out of the house then. And then Alan said that he didn't think that we should be breaking up, that it wasn't anything that serious, and that this was no cause to be taking apart everything that we had built for 9 years. And I said, well, you can think that, but I'm pretty decided that I'm not going to stay in this situation.
That obviously got my attention. I had no idea that my wife Christina felt that way, let alone that strong about that way. I did for once kind of finally express some anger, disappointment. More importantly, I finally expressed some feelings, came out of me, instead of me just being numb and being kind of in my own isolated world. So it certainly was an eye-opener. Unfortunately, I didn't get a job yet. I was still unemployed. Now the wife was upset. It did make me reevaluate things, per se. I talked more seriously about the doctor, about maybe taking some antidepressant drugs. Started to slowly talk more to Christina about what I was feeling, what I was going through. More importantly, I was at least asking her what were her emotions, what were her feelings going through, and then we would try and at least share some of these feelings, even though we were somewhat worlds apart, because nothing changed immediately overnight.
Yeah, I remember, I never packed anything, I never moved out of the house, but the next month was the weekend with Memorial Day weekend, and so I decided that we should take a week off and do a staycation, because that was something we could afford to do, and would give us some time that was more focused on us than it was on some extravagant location anyhow. And so that's what we did. We spent some time in the car, driving around, going for walks and eating simple meals like a burrito when we were out and about. Just reconnected a little bit more, and so long as I could see that Alan was investing in the relationship, I really stayed in an okay state of mind. I just really needed reassurance that he was going to take this relationship seriously and take his job search seriously and just be able to show me progress. I remember one thing I asked him to do was to just keep a little 3-ring notepad kind of calendar that would say what job he had applied for, what he had done, so I didn't have to ask him, you know, what are you doing to try to find a job? I could just look at it, and it wasn't a big emotional confrontation, but it was very reassuring to me that he was making progress. And I think it also helped Alan to stay on track with making sure he really was getting some milestones done in his search, and that would lift his spirits to see, yes, he really was making progress, reaching out to people.
Yeah, the 3-ring binder I did, it was good because it was motivation for me to show Christina I am looking for a job. Job market is just really bad, the recession, not a lot out there. I was going through emotional roller coaster because I would get a contact, you know, an email back wanting more information, or if you're lucky you got a phone call, but went through a long time where nothing, just a big black hole as far as job leads. But it was helpful sharing that with Christina. She was very good also providing me some support going through that when I wouldn't hear anything for weeks and months as far as a even potential job prospect.
I remember Alan was interviewing for jobs and even flew to jobs out of state to just see if he could land a job, and each interview is always an opportunity. Even if it doesn't result in a new career move, it gives you hope and it gives you good practice, and I would encourage him to just interview for anything that he found, wherever it was.
Yeah, the prospect was sometimes overwhelming, thinking, gee, out of state, how are we going to do? We got the house, we got the dog, we got marriage. Christina had her job, but I was realizing not working was just terrible, really depressive. This is where the depression drugs didn't help out. Having Christina sometimes when I really was down and out, for us to be able to go out, do something, just even a nice walk together with the dog was very beneficial. Having her as a crutch when I didn't feel any self-worth, self-evaluation, no light at the end of the tunnel. So it was nice when I engaged her in what I was going through and how she couldn't really do much, but at least provide a shoulder for me to lean on during this time. But also I started to realize how I was kind of pushing Christina away, and the prospect of the marriage ending. I was already divorced once. I did not want to be divorced again for whatever reason. That just really woke my eyes up, and when I thought about do I really want to be divorced, I knew the answer was no. I've been there, done that, did not want to do that again.
And so long as Alan was able to show me that he was looking for a job, and so long as he treated me like I was somebody important in his life, and he dedicated his time towards me and listened to what I had to say, planned fun things for us to do, I just felt cherished enough that I was willing to stay working at the relationship. And eventually he did find a job about 15 months after he lost his job.
Well, Christina, thank you for helping me out and working with the marriage even through a tough time in our lives. Hopefully this made us stronger and more aware of the need for one another and how we are better with each other and then apart.
I think you're a better husband than you were in the past. I think that the way that you treat me now is the way I would like to be treated the rest of my life.